What's up, guys? How you doing? Yeah, it's time to. I'm gonna cook a stir fry and gonna give you some brilliant dating advice. I was just thinking about it today. I had some time to think some things over. So yeah, stir fry is great. Recommend it for anyone. It's healthy and it's pretty straightforward to make. So let me see if I can just I probably won't film the whole thing on this video because it's going to be too long to cook the food. But I'll talk as I'm going. So, good dating advice for men for 2021, right? And the stuff I'm sharing is life experience, which I've experienced kind of over and over again, and things that I've figured out which work and which make things work out for you in your dating life, and things that actually can mess you up and cannot work, right? So I'm kind of breaking down my intelligence with where I've gone wrong, where I've gone right, where you might be going wrong, and how you can put things right, and somewhere in between. So I think the big mistake that I've made, and a lot of men make, is when they want to attract a woman and get a girlfriend, or get that confidence, or get a relationship, or start dating, or start feeling good about yourself and attractive with regards to, with women, that whole area of dating and relationships. I think a lot of us men, we forget that it's very important to be social in your life, and not to think, okay, well, dating is over here, and that's kind of like my private area that I want to improve at, and getting a woman, that's over here, and my life is separate over here, like my relationship with my family, my friends, my relationship with myself, the day-to-day things that I've got to do in my life, the challenges, my responsibilities, my goals, other things in life. And I actually realised that that's a big mistake, and let me explain. Because although, yes, you can separate everything. I mean, you can go, dating's here, cooking's here, video games is over here, education, school, your personal life. But really, it's not like that. When you actually live it and put it into practice. And what I mean by that is you have to kind of immerse them all together to make yourself more confident and more positive and more attractive to women. You have to kind of connect all these things, and it doesn't you don't have to make everything perfect, right? So that's taking things to the extreme. That's almost a mistake. So you don't have to be a perfect person. And I'm not a perfect person. You don't have to get, everything doesn't have to be perfect, but you want to try and get everything as best as you can. So the social aspect's so important, right? Not to generalize, because typically women are social beings, social creatures, right? Maybe more so than men, right? And again, someone could say, well, that's not true. I'm a guy and I'm just a social, and you could be right. But in my experience, generally, women tend to value and prioritize more of being social with their friends and their family, and that's actually a positive thing. And I think we could argue and talk about why men are a little bit different in that regard, right? And I've seen this in myself. So I think women are more attracted to a man who is more socially balanced, is more on good terms with his family, friends. He's more social with his life. He's just more of an open person, and you've got kind of, there's more energy, more positive energy going about. And when you have that energy, when you've got that enthusiasm, that positive energy, where you've been spending time with your family, and you're having a nice time around your family, and you've got that feeling of love, you're sharing it with family, it doesn't, and again, not extremes. I'm not saying you have 20 friends, 100 friends, no, it could just be one friend or two friends or a small group. When you've got that connection, you're socializing with your friends, and then you've got your own hobbies that you're following, a passion of your own. That could be cooking, it could be art, it could be dance, it could be video games, whatever, boxing, sports, athletics, mental health. When you've got these things going for yourself, you're so much more. There's a lot more. The energy is different. There's more energy. There's more positivity. So before you even go and approach a woman, and you speak to a woman, and you ask a woman out, or you compliment a woman, or or you go on a date, or even if you phone a woman up, or you do online dating, or you do in-person dating, it doesn't really matter. You're going into that situation with this positive energy, and it shows. People can sense it. You haven't got to say to someone, "Oh, I've been being social, I'm in a good place, I'm achieving." You haven't got to say all of that. I mean, you can if you want, but it's probably not necessary. People can see it, they can sense it. Women can see it, they can see it in your face. They can see it in your eye contact, they can hear it in your voice. You can hear it. You can hear in someone's voice when they're in a good place and they're positive and they're feeling good. And you can kind of get a sense, you can kind of pick up on when someone's been around lots of people and they're positive and they've got that positive energy. So I guess what I'm saying is, a lot of guys go wrong in their dating life, and they struggle to attract a woman in a relationship because, you know, they're not being social enough in their life. They're probably spending too much time on their own, and they're probably, what happens is, it's happened to me, you start getting down, you start getting depressed because you're not getting a girlfriend or you're not getting a date, and you start feeling insecure that you're not good enough, and women are not paying attention to you, they're not interested in you. And it's very easy to get into that depressed state where then you go, you know what, I feel down, I don't want to be around people. Even though I love my family, my friends, you start isolating yourself because you don't feel good about yourself, right? Which I can understand, I've been there, right? You can hear I speak from experience, I don't speak from textbooks. I speak from real living experience, right? As I said, I speak genuinely and honestly, wholeheartedly from, succeeding with women many times in my life and totally failing and screwing up, and also helping thousands of people at one time or another, right? So I forget this, and sometimes the only way that you can remind yourself and remember this is by putting those foundations in place, those social foundations. And it's just like an energy that you build up. It's a momentum. It's nothing weird. It can be that if you want. It doesn't affect me. Some people will say, well, it's a very spiritual thing. You know, you get into a spiritual place and your consciousness is expanded and you're in a high vibration and you're in the most positive, powerful spiritual place. I understand that. I understand that language and place, right? But maybe for some people who don't think of things like that, and they don't want to go deep into things, they just want something concrete and practical. Another way of wording it is like what I've said is, the more social you are, the more people you speak to, your mum, your dad, your brother, your sister, you spend time with them, you spend time with a friend, maybe you spend time at work or college, the more you're getting those social relationships and all those connections and all those conversations, the more you're getting that energy exchange, you're going to feel better about yourself, and women are going to feel better about you because you feel better about yourself. They're going to feel better about talking to you. They're going to respond better to you because you're giving them genuine energy. You're giving them that good, positive energy, and everyone loves that. You know, regardless of separating genders of men and women, it's people in general. So this is something that's so important, and I didn't know this when I was younger for many years. And when I look back now and go, do you know what? That's why I struggled. Because there were periods in my life where I wasn't social enough, and I was very like restricted and confined and suppressed and isolated and stuck. And my energy was just all depressed and stuffed down, and it made me socially it made me very socially cut off, and it made my energy negative, and that, you know, that shows, and that puts people off, right? So as I've said many times in my videos, it's very, very rarely about your looks. You know, looks is a bonus. If you're good looking, then good luck to you, but it's not everything in life. If you're good looking, but your energy is not right, and you're not positive, and you're not being social, it's not going to work out as good. But if you're quote unquote not the best looking person physically, right, and I'm not the one to make a judgment on that, all right, I don't do that, but people will. And if you want to make that judgment of yourself, then fair enough. If you go, okay, well, I don't feel physically that good looking, right, and I'm not going to let anyone change my mind on that, that's your choice, fair enough. But if you got yourself in a positive place and you were building that momentum, and let me just make a point of saying, I have to talk about this. It's so important. We can't alleviate this from the conversation. In order to do this, you've got to face your social fears. Everyone does, right? And sometimes it's a weird thing to say, because it's like, well, I shouldn't really be having to face my fears to meet my family, but you do. You're human. It doesn't. You love them so much, right? We're only human. So especially for people that have got social anxiety, and even people that don't have social anxiety, but especially if you're shy and introverted and it's not easy for you to be around people, then you've got to get that practice in that momentum. So you start to get into a place where, let me explain something. You're enjoying being around people. You're actually enjoying being around your family. You feel good. You're loving being around people, your friends, interacting with the public on a day-to-day basis. And to get to that point, for me, for all of us guys, for any women, right, girls, whoever you are, right, I appreciate everyone who watches my videos and gets something positive from them. In order to get to that place, you've got to take action. You've got to put work in. You can't just sit at home and just go, yeah, think positive. I mean, you can. That's a good start, obviously. Thinking positive and sitting at home is a great thing. But that's not enough. You have to, at some point, take the action. And like I said, if you can't get to people in person, then you've got to call them up on the phone or do a video call. A video call was pretty great. So when you're getting that momentum, and I've studied successful in my life, I've studied people. I'm fascinated with history, with culture, with different types of people, and looking at the way they do things and why they do things and what the result is. And I've learned a great deal from women. And when I've been in relationships and had a girlfriend, I've noticed that I really get that attraction and love and attention from women, and I can also give it to a woman when I'm at my best. And I can only really be at my best if I'm being social, and I'm spending time with my family and I'm in friends, and it's kind of like you're receiving energy, right? If you want to talk about it in an energetic sense, it's fine. I'm open-minded. You're receiving energy, so you're getting all that energy from your family, that love, which is a very real thing, right? Or if you want to say energy, those nice emotions that your mum and your dad and your brother, you're getting that from your family. You're getting that loving energy from your friends. Or if you've got a platform from your followers, you're getting that love from your followers. Then you're giving that energy out. You're giving that love and that positive energy to your family, to your friends, to whoever, the everyday who you interact with. And it does it changes things. It changes the way you feel. It changes. I've seen it myself. I've seen it with many of you. When I was coaching, when I was a teacher full time, I saw it with students and clients. I saw their body language change, because I would be coaching them, and the next lesson they'd say, yeah, I've been better with my family. I've been going out to see my family, or I've been going to see my cousin. I've actually been going to meeting my friends, and now I've met this girl and it's working out. And the reason why it's working out is because you've got yourself into a good, positive place. And the way you've done that is, when it comes down to the fundamental truth, is by being more social. So look, you can still do it, obviously. There's always going to be grey area. So you can obviously still attract a woman and be totally kind of a social recluse if you choose to be that, and you're someone that just kind of likes being on your own a lot. Because I've done that as well, but it's not as easy. It's not as easy to do it, and it doesn't feel as natural. It doesn't flow as good. And who doesn't really want to be on good terms with their, most people with their family and friends, and have that feeling of feeling part of of a family, and that's the feeling it feels. But when you don't have that feeling, when you do feel that sort of feeling of rejection, you don't really have a family, and you're trying to attract a woman, it's really hard. It really is hard. And like I said, these things are not always solved with money and material things, because it's not about that. If it was about that, from my experience, I'd say it. I'd tell the truth, right? Maybe for some people it isn't in some different circles, but from where I'm coming from, it's got nothing to do with the money and material things. It's more about being in a happy place and doing it through. And there's an energy, there's an energy. I can feel it when I see people doing podcast shows and they're interviewing different people, or they're meeting different people, or they just have a certain glow about them. Everyone's got it. So it's not like, oh, it's a special thing and some people have it. No, it's nonsense. Every single person can have that energy and can get that. They just have to well, they have to put some effort in and face some terrifying fears. A lot of them are social fears, and a lot of it is about motivation. You know, I mean, I think this is a good message right now, where there's been a lot of challenging things happening, obviously, because what we've been going through, and motivation. But yeah, that energy really does speak. And of course it takes time. Nothing's an overnight fix. It might take you 6 months to get into this place. It might take you 6 days. It depends. You know, you can't give like a concrete answer for everyone, but generally that is the truth. And it really does work more, and I've seen it. You know, and we could say, oh, it's all psychological. Yeah, it is all psychological. The mind's powerful. And how you train your mind and how you feel about yourself and stuff and what you project. So yeah, like I said, we can look at it from a spiritual point, and it can sound, you know, universal and all that kind of stuff, and that's fine. People like coming at it from that angle. We can just really come down to practicalities, which is the more social you are, guys, you know, the better you're going to feel when you speak to a woman, or she's going to feel when she speaks to you, and you're both in a social situation and you're engaging. There's just that love and that positivity. And when you don't have that, and I've been myself at times, when you're down and you're not really getting that energy, it's not really radiating from you, women are more reluctant. And you can understand, obviously, everyone's like that, guys are like that. Like if I said to you now, whoever you are watching this video, if someone was very negative and very toxic and, you know, being around you, probably wouldn't really want to be, you wouldn't enjoy being around them, right? So, but yeah, it really is important, and I'm sure I've explained this really well, so someone can watch this and really understand that and go, do you know what? It makes sense what he said. I'm going to go and apply that. So until you don't apply this, you're never really going to understand it. I mean, you'll understand it at the level of hearing it and going, that makes quite a lot of sense. He's had that's an intelligent point of view, that, you know, if you want to be better with women, you've got to be more social with people in general and spend time with your family, quality time. So you've got the happiness in your life, and that happiness shines and comes off. But yeah, actually really giving it some thought, it's unbelievable. I'll definitely be doing more videos on this, and it's taken me over 10 years to kind of really process this and look at areas of my life when it went well with women, when it didn't go well, and look at many people that I've worked with and that. And there's a real science in this. It's really, really on point, all right? So I hope that helps become fearless. I will make more videos. I'm just kind of unpacking my knowledge and my experience as I'm going ahead. You can see I'm processing and going, oh yeah, that makes sense. Oh yeah, that's why I felt like that. And so, you know, thinking, feeling, and then the action. You start thinking good, you start feeling good, and then the more momentum you build, the more confidence you gain. So, you know, it's all about, it comes down to the basics. We're going to end the video. It's all about facing fear on a practical level, not theory. Theory doesn't work with this particular realm. Facing your fears, your social fears, doing practical things, facing your fears in life, being more social, you know, having those, you know, even things like playing video games with a friend or your brother or your loved one, having that connection when you're playing a game, when you're both taking part in something and it's fun and laughing and enjoying life, right? And then coming from that perspective of going up to a woman with that energy, with that foundation behind you, it's powerful, with that love, that honesty, and you're giving that respect to women, and boy, they really do lap it up, as opposed to approaching women and being down and not being social, and just feel like you're coming out of a cave and you've just been isolated. It's very difficult when you're coming from that perspective, all right? Come fearless, see you soon.